I enjoyed the read. You know, I read it, and it was to me it was like the Santa Claus we haven't seen before, and it kind of explains him in a way of who he is and where he came from. Not overtly, but you kind of get a few clues as to who he might be and where he came from and how old he is, and you know, a few other magical things about him. But it's kind of rooted in reality too. I mean, he's just a guy with a wife, and he's got a job, and he's got a mortgage, and he's got problems, and you know, and it's and it focuses in on him at a time of change for him, when he's really got to pull a rabbit out of his hat. And the other thing I liked about it was kind of like it reminded me of a Western, you know, because it gets to a whole showdown. I just was charmed by the story and the script and by the character. And so, you know, I thought, well, why not? Let's do this. This looks like fun. And then I talked to the brothers, and they pretty quickly after I met them, I was confirmed that they were in it for the love of the game and for some fun. And he says, all I have is a loathing for a world that's forgotten, you know, what the meaning of Christmas is. And so he's pining the way things have been and the change in the world, and that he has to do things that are uncomfortable in order to survive and compromise a little bit. And he's not digging that. So, you know, as the world changes and the people in it, he has to kind of adapt. And I think he's finding that a painful experience. So it's cathartic for him. And but I think the theme of the film is, you know, actually, it's kind of dark in many ways, the film. So it is a creature of its time. You know, that this Christmas story is kind of couched in something a little dark and ominous, but ultimately hopeful, I think. You know, the first time I met the guys, it was like, it was a fun meeting, and they seemed to be just having fun. And they talked about the story in a way they obviously loved what they do and what they were doing. And, you know, I want to be in business with guys like that, because it's about, and believe me, like, nobody was throwing like tons of dough. They had, you know, they were doing it on like not a whole bunch of money. I mean, you know, enough, but like, so it wasn't, they're not doing it to like make profits. They're doing it because they love it, and they want to say something. And I just want to get to work with guys like that. I enjoyed it. It was down and dirty in a lot of ways, but like they got a lot of quality. I mean, I watched the thing, and the way it looked, and the way it was shot, and it just looks like big budget. It just, so, you know, they've been there before, and they know what they're doing. And the camera work was excellent, and, you know, it just, you know, it's it belies its humble budget, that it looks so grand, you know. But that's what you got to do these days. She knows. She's kind of smarter than he is in a way. She kind of sees the big picture. So, you know, they're a good pair. And often in film pairings, you know, it's like it's good to have someone who's deficient in some aspect, and the other one has it, so that they can depend on one another. So I thought that was a pretty good juxtaposition of characters there. And she's great. And you know, Mrs. Claus is black, and she's got this British accent, so it's this kind of weird, worldly kind of surprise that you don't expect that, but it works beautifully. You know? One scene with Chance, a very clever kid, and he conveys a lot, and he can really be unpleasant when he wants, but he's the nicest kid. He's accommodating. He's just a little gentleman. But I watched the film back, and I was really kind of charmed by the fact that he could be such a nasty piece of work, and you kind of love to hate him, but you actually feel some kind of you know, empathy for him in what he's going through, because, you know, the script sort of leaves room in there for you to have a reason to understand why he's like he is. Well, you know, hey, I'm not a youngster anymore. I got arthritis and stuff. So running around and jumping in the snow and falling over and getting shot and having fights and stuff is like, thank God there's stuntmen. But it was fun. You know, you can have a lot of action that doesn't mean anything, but in this it does, and it's literally kind of like the old Western showdown. And a lot of things are at stake. And you understand the protagonists, I think, by this time. And somebody's got to live and somebody's got to die, you know. And it's like, whoa, this is serious because. And if all the chess pieces are in place, when it comes time to sort of wind the match up, action sequences work beautifully, and I think this one does, you know. And Walt is a joy. What a great guy, you know, just always up. I mean, up. This guy, his attitude is like he is enjoying the hell out of life, and that's infectious. I think I believed it till I was 7. I remember telling my own kid, who's 8, by the way, and he was a smart kid, and he collared me, and he said, "Santa's not real, is he?" And I said, I didn't know what to say. I said, well, so you know, you always answer a question with a question. You say, well, what makes you think that? And he says, well, you know, come on. How's some fat guy supposed to get down our chimney? You know, it's like, and then he's got to make it to all the houses everywhere. I mean, how could he possibly do that? And I say, yeah, you're right. It defies logic, doesn't it? I said, you're right. There is no Santa Claus. And he just was shocked when I said that. And he looked at me with his mouth open. And he was like, you lied to me. And it was like, no, I'm just having some fun. He says, no, you lied to me. You know, he felt betrayed. And then I thought, it's okay, Tom. And I sort of placated him. I said, you know, it happened to me, man. I had to figure it out. You know, it's just a fun story. And it's fun. Come on, we're just having fun. And, you know, he finally accepted that. Then he stopped for a minute and he looked at me and he said, there's no Easter Bunny either, is there? So I said, no. I said, 6-foot rabbit hopping around, leaving colored eggs. Chocolate colored eggs? Don't think so. Christmas at my house, wow. Because I had a sister who was a year and a half older. Then I had twins who were a year younger than me. And then another guy who was a year younger than that. And then there were the older kids. And it was just, you know, so there was fun to be had by everyone. It was, coming from a big family is fun. Wow, Australia was really weird to have Christmas in because I started off in the snow country. You know, I was in upstate New York, and it was like, you know, you'd be snowed in for Christmas, or so you had, you know, the old Bing Crosby White Christmas. But it was in Australia, it was the height of summer, and it was beach weather. Christmas there was like, you know, board shorts and surfing and swimming in the ocean and sunscreen, and so it was a whole different experience. And then usually after Christmas Day was the what's called Boxing Day, and it was the start of the Sydney to Hobart yacht race every year on Sydney Harbour, so you could look out over the heads and see thousands of sailboats. So there were good memories there too. A different kind of Christmas, but really dug it. But people would make the effort to have little pine, even in the Southern Hemisphere. Being basically, you know, a European culture that was shifted, you know, they still had the custom of like trying to get something that looked like a tree with snow on it, you know. So it was pretty funny. Yeah.